What golden nugget of information do you have to share? If you don't have a toilet plunger and you've clogged it up, pour in a bit of dish soap and some hot water. The hotter the better. Let it stand for 15 minutes and flush. Learned this when immediately upon arriving at our hotel, my 8-year-old clogged up our toilet and I Googled. Found this gem. Realised I'd packed a tiny travel bottle of dish soap, warmed water up in the microwave, and lo and behold, it worked. I still use it sometimes at home when I don't want to be grossed out by plunging. Yes, my child has a tendency to clog toilets. So there you go. X% of Y is the same as Y% of X. So if you're struggling to find 26% of 50, maybe 50% of 26, 13, is much easier to do quickly. I have some words for my 6th grade math teacher. Wait, stop. Guys, honestly, I am terrible at maths. Like, seriously, seriously bad. But this has just made my whole entire existence make sense. That is so much easier. Control-Shift-Escape opens straight to the Task Manager, instead of Control-Alt-Delete and then manually selecting Task Manager. Horses have a massive blind spot on the front and back of their body. If you're ever around a tame horse, keep a hand on their body while walking around them. This lets it know where you are at all times and decreases chances of kicking out of shock or fear. This also prevents them from kicking you with as much force. You need to stay very close to them for the full benefit. This is similar with goats, as they instinctively fight things coming head-on and should be approached from the sides. Also, ears are the gateway to a horse's feelings. Pinned back ears indicates an anxious or angered horse. Pinned straight up indicates curiosity. And if your older parents/grandparents are suddenly acting strange, get them checked for a UTI. In older people, UTIs can cause a psychotic or delusional episode. What are the chances my parents have both had UTIs for 20 years? Yeah, literally. I probably should have got my parents checked out a couple years ago because them two are off their nut. Literally, off their nut. Even though you have a VPN, it doesn't necessarily keep you hidden if skilled people wanted to find you. There are many things that can leak your IP that you have to isolate and fix, such as IPv6 leaks, DNS leaks, and WebRTC leaks. Also, every add-on you add to your browser, it gives you a unique fingerprint that could lead back to you. You're not as secure as you think. Pah, joke's on you. I use incognito mode. Hackerman intensifies. Artillery was responsible for over 70% of combat casualties in both world wars. And 4% of the sand on the beaches of Normandy are still made up of shrapnel. That is mind-blowing. Really drives the point home how it must have been hell on earth. A scorpion can hold its breath for 6 days. So don't think drowning it will help you out of your scorpion problem. 6 days. Wow. I was just thinking, no, that must be why they scream in those tanks because, they're being boiled alive, but they can still breathe. Then I realised that was lobsters, so just ignore me. A moose can run up to 40 miles per hour through 6-foot deep snow. Terrifying. For a garment to be labelled Made in USA, the process only needs to be started and finished in America. In the case of a certain ladies' underwear line, the material is cut in USA, shipped overseas for assembly, then shipped back to America where a seamstress sews a Made in USA tag on the item. Source/underwear factory worker. It's crazy how it's cheaper to send clothing across the world to be assembled than it is just to do it domestically. 9 months before Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of the bus, a 15-year-old called Claudette Colvin refused to give up her seat. 2 police drivers arrested her. Colvin says that civil rights leaders didn't think a teen, especially one with a very dark complexion, would be a good poster child for their movement. Source for anyone interested. The first president of Zimbabwe was President Banana. It was also illegal to joke about his name in Zimbabwe, so the foreign press used to joke about his name more. If you were caught, though, you were locked up with no chance for appeal. Well, sorry, but I would have definitely been locked up because there's no way I'm not making fun of a guy that's called President Banana. Do you know what I mean? Lock me up and throw away the key. When looking at renting a car or hotel room, etc., type in your company's name, discount code, vendor in Google. Wells Fargo Hertz discount code. You can get better rates on these items usually. Iron can make your poop colour turn black. When Elton John changed his name from Reginald Dwight, he also gave himself a middle name. His full name is Elton Hercules John. The Earth wobbles really slowly like a spinning top. It takes about 26,000 years to come full circle. In the process, the northern star changes. This is called precession. It's one of the 3 major changes in Earth's movements, which are part of the Milankovic style. Precession occurs 26,000 years. Eccentricity occurs 125,000 years. Obliquity occurs 41,000 years. These cycles all have effects on Earth's climate. For more information, just search Milankovic cycles. Airline Ops Guy here. If you check in a bag at an airport with an hour or less before departure, it has a 50-50 shot of making it on the plane. Just like the TSA line, bag security can back up too. I regularly see 30+ minutes in screening statuses on bags. Then, it may be pulled for a hand screening and search. This is random, and TSA doesn't care when the flight leaves. So now we're at about 25 minutes to departure, and your bag has only just now entered the sort system. It will take another 5 to 10 minutes to sort out to the person who loads carts with bags. Here, the problem is that there may be 7 to 10 other flights coming off of the same conveyor belt. They have to see your bags tag out of maybe 50 other bags. So let's assume another 5 minutes. Your flight's bag cart was delivered plainside at an hour before departure. It's now 15 minutes to departure. The bag room has seen your bag and has it on the back of a tug racing to the plane. 7 minutes before departure, the baggage compartments are closed and total weighs are being submitted. Your bag has missed the plane. Long story short, please check in more than an hour before your flight if checking a bag, or else it might not make it on the plane. So if I should check in late, my bag might be delayed and I can claim on my insurance $200 for new clothes. It's actually really handy, thank you. I'm off on holiday in 2 weeks, off on me holly bobs, and I definitely will not be checking in late, because I'm a control freak with stuff like that anyway. However, I did go to Budapest a couple of months ago. My best friend and I were trying to get on the plane and she's just late to everything and we were literally going to miss our flight. And I was having a full-on breakdown episode in the airport. Yeah, not happening again. Actually, yes, I checked in late for a flight last year and my bag didn't make the plane. I had to buy new clothes and was reimbursed by the airline. Got a cute new swimsuit. I don't recommend this though. It took days for my bag to find its way to me and made the start of a vacation quite stressful. I had a heart transplant 5 years ago. When your heart is replaced, the surgeon has to cut the main nerve that gets the signal from the brain to beat, and or increase the intensity of the beat. Without this vagus nerve, your new heart has no regulation and pumps blood out of habit. You no longer have a fight or flight response and your new heart beats at 90+ beats a minute. The vagus nerve slows down the heart. Epinephrine in your bloodstream, released from your adrenal glands in a fight or flight situation, can still speed it up though. Also, congratulations on your new heart. I hope you have a great life. That is terrifying. So if you get nervous, your heart doesn't race. Right. I have no internal regulation over my heart rate. My new heart beats purely from muscle memory. I can't think about it for too long because it's just too freaky. Never miss a chance to pee. This is always my go-to. I had a choir practice in a group of 200+ people, and I sat right in the middle where there was no leg room to leave. Right before the rehearsal, I thought, I should use the restroom. Then I thought, nah, I'm good. 3.5 hours later, I'm sweating, nearly crying because I have to go so bad. I prayed so hard for my bladder to be sustained. I was finally able to waddle to the toilet and had a moment of pure ecstasy. Summary: never pass up the chance to use the restroom. Okay, and I fully back this. Guys, I'm glad you guys have no idea who I am because I'm about to tell you a story about myself. So I have a really small bladder. I literally have to wee every 3 minutes, not even an exaggeration. But anyway, I'm in a taxi in central London on my way to a music event. And I'd been drinking, so you know how much that makes you need a pee anyway. And the taxi guy was just being long. I was like, please, I literally need to wee so bad. I'm gonna wee in your taxi. Like, I'm gonna have to wee. He couldn't pull over, bless him. We were in central London, which is fair enough. But anyway, my friend was like, I've got a bin bag. Don't know why my friend had a bin bag. That's a story for a different time. But he was like, you're gonna have to wee in this. And I had to wee in a black bin bag in the back of the taxi without the taxi driver knowing. It was a low point in my life, but that's how bad it is. I genuinely, seriously needed to wee that bad. I had to. So we just had a bag of wee in the taxi with us. That a strong sense of doom is a medically recognised and majority common precursor to having a heart attack. Here I am waiting for my heart attack for the 8th year. Armadillos give birth to 4 identical twins, always. Yes, just to clarify a little, they bear either 4 or 8 pups. They either have 1 set of identical quads or 2 sets of identical quads. There are 3 ways to refer to a gathering of geese. If they're on the ground, it's a gaggle. If they're flying but not in a V-shaped formation, it's a scion. If they're flying and in a V-shaped formation, it's a wedge. Whoa, bro, check out that gaggle skiing wedge. A single spaghetti noodle is called a spaghetto. I thought a spaghetto was a place where poor Italians lived. On a cold and grey Chicago morn, another baby Italian is born. In spaghetto. Speaking of golden nuggets of information to share, goldfish lose their colour if they are kept in dim light or replaced in a body of running water, such as a stream. Also, goldfish actually get very large and live for a very long time. But most people don't care for them properly and end up suffocating them in ammonia. I must be hungry, because when I saw goldfish, I assumed the crackers. To be fair, some goldfish crackers also lose their colour when placed in running water. The concept of 3 square meals a day is a diet designed for people working physical labour in the early 1900s. Quality of diet and sticking to daily calorie limits is the only part that really matters. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter what time you eat. Although the 3 square meals model is indeed advantageous for day-long maintenance of energy levels. Basically, it's better to just eat when you're hungry than force yourself to eat when you should, so long as you're getting the proper nutrients, etc. Get a first aid course. It really does save lives. The Outer Bridge Crossing is a bridge that connects Staten Island, New York, to Perth Amboy. You probably think it was named that because it's the outermost bridge in New York City. Wrong, it's named after Eugenius Harvey Outerbridge. Wait, is Eugenius a real name? That's amazing. I'm calling my kid that now, so whenever he does something stupid, I can go, gee, nice one, Eugenius. In the 90s, there was a Scottish indie band named Captain America, which was renamed Eugenius following a cease and desist letter from Marvel Comics. In the center courtyard of the Pentagon, you don't have to salute superior officers. It's a recreation/lunch area, and you'd basically spend the whole time saluting, so it's not required there. Source, my uncle, a Navy corpsman who currently works at the Pentagon. All colours of Fruit Loops have the same flavour. Also true for Play-Doh. Newly registered nurse working on a haematology ward and learned that stem cells smell like sweet corn. Okay, why is that really gross? That's just made me feel sick. Stem cells smell like sweet corn. Ew. The main reason we stop doing something we love is because we forget our love of doing it for enjoyment's sake and replace it with the desire to be good at it. You've inspired me. I should go tune up my guitar and get back to playing. I enjoyed it. I was decent, and I should enjoy being decent at it rather than good or great. Most people replace their computer or run them into the ground when they get hot and slow, when in reality, new thermal compound and a solid state drive upgrade can fix both problems and increase its lifespan for about $35 to $50. And it isn't incredibly hard to DIY in most cases. Canadians say sorry so much that an act passed in 2009 states that an apology would not be considered admission to guilt. It's 100 times better to break up when you're in a rubbish relationship than trying to fix it for the 9th time. In Germany, we have a saying that would translate to, it's better to have it end in terror instead of having terror without end. Wow, that might be one of the best sayings I've actually ever heard. It's better to have it end in terror instead of having terror without end. Just process that quickly for me, guys. Let's all take this advice today, okay? I work front desk at a hotel. I've seen this before, so I hope it's new to someone. Don't use sites like Expedia, etc. If you book directly with the hotel, you can always call to make changes. If you need to cancel, you can avoid the 24-hour window fee by changing your reservation to a few days later. Then call back the next day to cancel. Third-party booking sites are not easy to change info. We cannot change the rate if something needs to be fixed, and you're looked down upon and get whatever basic rooms are available. Not by me personally, but everyone around me. The grey rock treatment is an incredibly useful method of dealing with narcissists and toxic people. If such a person is going at you verbally or behaviourally, screaming or posturing or trying to fight, become like a grey rock in a river. No reaction, don't answer, no movement. Just sit calmly and let the stream of crazy flow past you. Bonus points if you can stare blankly. When people thrive on causing a reaction, they absolutely cannot compute when they get no reaction. If you're in physical danger, obviously react to keep yourself safe, but don't argue, explain, or defend yourself verbally. You'll never change a narcissist's mind. It's just walking on a treadmill. Obviously not foul-proof. Keep yourself safe first and foremost. I once did this with a narcissistic ex. Just sat blankly. After they calmed down, they sat facing a different direction. My nose was runny due to allergies, so I got the sniffles. Sniffle. Sniffle again. My ex turned around with this strange smile on their face. They thought I was crying. When they realised I was perfectly composed, they became bewildered. The most awful smile on their face for that one moment. Your ex smiled because they thought they actually hurt you and made you cry. What the F? I honestly don't know how such horrible people exist. I accidentally discovered this a couple of days ago. I work in healthcare, and for the past several weeks, we've had an increasing number of people frustrated with the pandemic, complaining about wearing a mask, being allowed to go to some places but not to others, etc. I tried to explain flattening the curve, keeping numbers in the ICU manageable, using logic and science to explain the why behind the stay-at-home orders. I convinced exactly 0 people and only aggravated myself. Yesterday, I was just tired. So when patients came in complaining about the situation, I just didn't say anything and let them vent their spleen. Eventually, they stopped talking and changed the subject on their own. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video and have a wonderful day. If you ever have a baseball bat and need to use it as a weapon, put a sock over it so if someone tries to disarm you, they just slide off the sock. Time out, time out, time out. I need to run home to get a sock first, apparently. Please wait here. I'll be right back. If you carry a baseball bat in your vehicle for self-defense, also carry a baseball glove. Even if you don't play baseball, your lawyer will appreciate it. Put a sock on my baseball bat and carry a baseball glove as well. Please note, this does not work if you carry a Glock 19 for self-defense. Carry bullets. Say it's for shooting. People often underestimate how big a billion actually is. An easy way to conceptualize is to think of it in terms of seconds. 1 million seconds ago was 12 days ago. 1 billion seconds ago was 1987. What's the difference between 1 million and 1 billion? About a billion. Yes, I love this. If I spent $1 every second, I would be spending $3,600 an hour. It would take me 32 years to spend $1 billion at this rate. Wow, to think there's some people on this earth that are actually billionaires. Like, give us some. Do you know what I mean? There are about 60,000 characters in the Mandarin language. A very literate person will know 20,000. The average person from 5,000 to 10,000. If uneducated, around 3,000. I met a German girl who had studied Mandarin in university. She said she knew about 6,000 characters, which was about enough for her to read the newspaper. Which one? I don't know any, so I guess I'm freaking stupid. Here are the numbers 1, 2, and 3. It does get a bit harder after that, though. I'm sorry, I don't even know what Mandarin was. So I'm the freaking stupid one, obviously. Like, what? Each one of the Yamato-class battleship's main gun turrets weighed over 3,000 tons, heavier than the average US destroyer. If you were on a destroyer in the US Navy during World War II, you ran the risk of having to fight a ship whose primary weapons alone displaced more weight than your entire vessel. And the reason for this is that the Japanese Navy had heavy restrictions from the West on how big their navy could be before the start of World War II. So to compensate for this, they built the biggest battleships the world had ever seen. Yep, Washington Naval Treaty. And they were absolutely useless once aircraft carriers became the most effective and valued ships in a fleet. Not to mention they couldn't recoup their losses anywhere near as fast as the US could, so every loss really hurt them, and they didn't have the resources to actually get the most out of them. Granted, Japan's carrier force was formidable up until Midway happened, but Japan essentially made a perfect sword while everyone else was making guns with the Yamato. I recall hearing that the Japanese Navy were extremely protective of the Yamato due to its status and weren't keen on putting it in harm's way. Even then, as impressive as its numbers are, it was an outdated concept in an era where naval combat was dominated by air superiority and submarine warfare. It was just a very expensive demeasuring exercise. Yamato, Yamato, tomato, tomato. Heat the back of a spoon gently and press it on a mosquito bite for a few seconds to greatly reduce itching. The heat breaks up the protein in the venom. Pfft, I am not heating the bottom of a spoon where I live, buddy. I'll have to ask my neighbour for advice on the heating spoons thing. Even if wipes say they're flushable, they're not fricking flushable. Arguing with a genius and winning is possible, but very hard. Arguing with an idiot and winning is impossible. A 30-min walk every day decreases the percentage of you getting dementia. I keep meaning to do that but always forget. But by how much out of interest? Not some silly 0.000 recurring 7 nonsense, is it? According to the link below, a study by the Mayo Clinic showed a deduction of between 30 to 50%. Seasonal allergies are almost entirely man-made ailments. When planting landscaping trees and bushes in the 50s and 60s, people didn't want to use female trees as they didn't want fruit to fall on streets and on people's cars. So they opted for almost entirely male trees, thus drastically increasing the pollen output. The distinctive smell of summer rain is caused by the molecule geosmin, a byproduct of the Streptomyces bacteria. Peanuts are not nuts. They're legumes, and they grow out of the ground like potatoes. Nuts and drupes typically grow on trees and are the seeds of fruits. You can be allergic to tree nuts and not be to peanuts and vice versa. Peanuts and potatoes work pretty differently. Potatoes are tubers. They grow out of the root system. Peanuts are homologous to peas or beans. The plant grows flowers above ground like a normal legume, but then sends a shoot into the ground that develops into the peanut. Caterpillars are physically unable to burp. Thank frick for that, can you imagine? I dunno, dude. I think the world would be a much better place if caterpillars could burp. When choking on food and can't get help, You can get into a push-up position and then just drop down. The ground hitting your stomach and chest will cause what you're choking on to dislodge. There's a video I saw of a guy doing this move, and then completely serious, he said, "If you're pregnant, you cannot do this." And I burst out laughing. Now I will always remember how to save myself if I'm choking. Why firemen? Are these folks running into buildings holding a corn dog or what? You all made me laugh as much, or more, as I hope you did. Cheers. I think it's just a safety trick they learn. Admit when you're wrong. Say it loud to the person you were incorrect to, and don't let your pride stop you. The amount of respect you instantly gain is shocking, no matter how much you like the person. Even if you aren't willing to give mouth to mouth on an unconscious person, chest compressions alone greatly increase their odds of survival. In case others wondered why, the circulatory system will still have amounts of oxygen that can be circulated to the brain via compression, which can make the difference. Also, because chest compressions naturally push air in and out of your lungs, if you're doing them right. Domestic cats don't meow to communicate with other cats. They use meows almost exclusively to communicate with humans. My cat also meows at my dog, though. Well, according to the ASPCA, cats meow when they want attention, so maybe your dog gives your cat attention. It's not completely exclusive to humans, since cats meow when they're trying to find a mate, but I'm guessing your dog provides company or something else your cat wants. Here's some info about it. Smells are particulate. On the timeline of human history, the ancient Egyptians lived as close to the ancient Romans as the ancient Romans live to us today. The reason that they did not teach about the Aztec Empire for Oxford's first few hundred years was twofold. The Americans had not been discovered, and the Aztec Empire had not been founded. That's the exact same reason the local junior college doesn't have the Mars colony in their curriculum yet. Semen washes off best with cool water. Using hot water can cause the proteins to denature and makes it stickier. By the way, this also applies to period blood, murder blood, urine, and almost alcoholic drinks. Hot water will make it harder to remove. What about non-period, non-murder blood? The tensing of leg muscles will deflate an unwanted erection. That has been a lifesaver on multiple occasions. I almost saved this comment for future reference, but then remembered I'm not a dude. Yeah, I literally just done the same thing. I was like, oh, that's actually really handy, thank you. Then realised I don't have a D between my legs. Don't buy French bulldogs. They're a fad breed that was sick to begin with, and so many people are being scammed by backyard breeders and puppy farms they're depressingly broken. If you do buy one, even from an official breeder, be prepared for allergies, ocular bleeding from eye pressure, hip dysplasia, cheery eye, trachea collapse, twisted spine, and dreadful breathing problems. They are expensive. Too many teen girls buy them and can't afford the allergy meds and food and just leave them to suffer. One visited the clinic last week, collapsed and died because of an extra long walk in the sunshine. Don't do it. Let this breed disappear and buy a dog with a nose. Kangaroos have 3 vajayjays. But why? 3 times the fun. I have so many questions. Gary Newman is 13 days older than Gary Oldman. The odds of you finding a gold nugget in a day are 0.000000784% on average, in my house or in a place where gold nuggets live. So you're telling me there's a chance? The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is permanent. On YouTube, you can directly click at the end of the video and then play replay. All ads will be removed. If you see a job that you really want but aren't quite qualified for, apply anyway. Don't tell yourself no. Make them tell you no. You might be pleasantly surprised. Both my son and daughter followed this advice and got a job that turned into a career. As a manager who hires people, yes, apply for everything you're reasonably competent for, even if you can't check all the boxes. Most of what I look for is experience and practical application of knowledge, skills, and tools. Even so, I'm aware that many aspects can be taught easily and quickly. We're also looking for general intelligence and character, good mindset and work ethic. I manage the engineering department at my company. Even people applying for design, manufacturing, QC, or whatever we happen to be looking for, generally are not applying with a specific degree. There's a ton of overlap. Heck, what I even went to school for, I've barely used, not have really been hired on specially for. Manhattan's layout is largely grid-based except for Broadway, which runs at a diagonal through the city and ignores the grid. This is because, before the rest of Manhattan was developed and was mostly farmland and open fields, this is the route the cows took out to pasture, and its continued use over the years by people and cows meant it was simply left in as the city developed. Broadway exists because of cows. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos coming daily.